welcome to the next edition of Just Candid, and we are very, very happy and humbled to have a very special person with us, a celebrity author, a journalist, Mrs. Nandita C. Puri. Ma'am, very much welcome to the Chandigarh University's program Just Candid.
Thank you, and I am very humbled and honored to be at Chandigarh University, and it was a wonderful experience, and I enjoyed my session in the afternoon.
How's life now socially after Om Puri Saab?
Personally, life, nothing has changed per se socially, but there's a huge loss, and we are missing him every day. In fact, today we went out with friends for dinner to his favorite place in Sector 7, and this was his favorite city, and we saw the beautiful house, that apartment that he booked.
You know, an amazing personality, and I personally happened to have a chance to meet him. Yeah. And all we wish is that a lot of strength to you and your family, and especially the dynamic and the handsome Ishan.
Thank you, thank you.
Now, moving forward, in your talk earlier this afternoon as a TEDx speaker, you mentioned about, career in writing, has to be very carefully taken up, or you need to have a backup. Just elaborate a little bit.
See, today, as compared to 20-25 years ago when I started out, today writing has many options, journalism. There's a whole mass media course, and there's very fine different, threads of journalism and writing. But if you want to go into pure writing, that's creative writing, then definitely I think you need a backup. And backup could be anything. Backup could be anything which will commercially sustain you till you hit it. Like whether it's journalism, whether it's advertising, whether it's editing in-house magazine, whether it's manuscript editing, right. anything, you have to have some amount of continuous income so that the family, your house keeps running. Otherwise it can be frustrating, because writing is the world's slowest profession. It is one of the world's ill-paced professions, and it can be very frustrating. If you get 4 rejection letters, by the time the 5th rejection letter comes, you are ready to jump. So I always say, have a professional backup. Okay. If you have a business or something, a professional backup could also mean having a little bookshop. Right. Because reading is also very important.
There is the constant inflow of money.
Yes.
And you sustain.
Absolutely. Yeah. Because reading is a very important part of writing.
Right.
You improve as a writer if you're reading continuously. You're improving yourself. So maybe even a bookshop or any kind of commercial writing to sustain. Like, again, I go back to Omji. He passed out in 1976 from FTI after 3 years of National School of Drama, 2 years of FTI as an actor, trained actor. And still he couldn't call himself an actor till 1984. Till then he taught speech and movement in Actor Studio. And only in 84, when Ardha Satya became a hit, then he knew that, now I can call myself an actor because I can survive on my acting skills. So he always told, in fact, whenever my son once told him, Baba, I want to be an actor like you. So he said, no, first you must have one professional qualification, be it a cinematographer, an editor, sound recordist, VFX person, whatever. Specialized skills, so that whether you're working for ad films or corporate films or feature films or serials, whatever, you have a running income going. And then अगर आपका एक्टिंग में दुकान लग गया तो ठीक है, बहुत अच्छा. So directors, actors, writers tread on very fine ground, so they have to have a steady base, whatever. And the other option, of course, as I said, marry a rich spouse. So I was very lucky to have a very rich spouse who really supported everything. So I wrote just for the heck of writing. I mean, I wrote with a lot of passion because I didn't have to worry about my house, so I could concentrate and write what I wanted to write.
But I'm very glad you had, you're remembering and you honor and you admire the good times you had.
Yes, absolutely.
Association with a great man.
We've had, great man who's literally opened my horizons. I came from Calcutta with, certain limitations.
Right.
And there I was exposed to the world,
Right.
Dining with Prince of Monaco, Prince Albert of Monaco, or having a cappuccino with Jack Nicholson, going out for pizza with Tom Hanks. So there were the whole lot, and there were, royalty, there was the Queen of England.
Lot of opportunities.
Yes, there were lots of
and
opportunities,
lot of
amazing directors.
rare interactions. Yeah.
Like Mike Nichols, fabulous people who you could interact with.
Yeah.
And sometimes it was hard to believe that you actually interacted with these people.
Yes.
Like once my son, Tom Hanks asked my son, "Can I take you out for dinner, young man?" He was very small, and so he said, "Yeah." So he's saying, where would you like to go? So Om and me was thinking, he'll take us to a nice fancy restaurant, and my son says, "I want to have pizza." I said, "Oh my God, pizza!" But there you go.
Settles for a pizza.
Yeah,
That's the
settles,
right honest answer.
Yeah.
Honest answer. Now
So
coming back to again the writing thing and the career. How much has the mobile technology, affected the regular traditional, I would say, the print media and the journalism?
It has the broadcast media, the television media, this television especially, has literally taken a huge toll on the newspapers, on the print media. But because I'm a journalist basically, and I have 5-6 newspapers coming in every day.
Right.
5 newspapers. I rarely see my son reading the newspapers.
That's right. Yeah.
But he is more updated on the news than I am. I probably also don't read the newspapers so much. I just skim through it. But at least on Sundays, I make it a point to read through. I have about 50 newspapers coming on Sunday, so I read everything. My son, I've never seen him even look at the newspaper. And the other day I asked him something, and he told me, "Oh, this is this."
Yeah.
I said, "How do you know?" Because he's constantly on
mobile news.
on the mobile, and they know everything. And I think we have too much, as we don't like it, and we believe in the print.
Do you think there is a flip side to it? Or this is going to increase the digital media and the information?
It will increase, I have a feeling. The flip side of it is just the eyes.
Your health.
Your health and the
constraint
radiation.
coming
Yes,
out.
that's not good. But yes, even with newspapers, our parents complain, "Jada mat paro," because eyes, it's going to affect. So I think it's a generation thing. We'll have to adapt to it.
It's a generation thing.
I started out on that manual typewriter with tuck tuck tuck, and I still have my typewriter. And one wrong thing, then you put a whiting marker, and then went on, and too many mistakes, then you just threw the paper and retyped it again.
Yes.
Now you can't imagine, everything is on your phone. You forget the laptop.
Yes.
Everything is there. So
No, absolutely.
I've lived through many.
Yeah, you've gone through all.
From the manual typewriter to the electronic typewriter to the personal
Desktop
computer to the laptop
and now to the mobile.
and to the mobile.
Yeah. So, talking from the student's perspective, their career in journalism, what would be the next five years have in store for them?
After they pass out.
Yeah, what
It's
are
a
the
lot
next
of-
5 years going to be like in the Indian context for the scope for journalists?
I think it's a great scope for journalism. Great scope. I can see, there was, I think the last few years, and before that, in my time, there was a little bit of yellow journalism, but there were some wonderful journalists, wonderful, people in the media who were very good, and they took it to a very high level, like Vinod Mehta and others. And then, of course, the last few years, I forgotten to say one thing, which I want to strongly say, that I've been very against paid journalism, which is the last trend of the last 5-6 years, and I'm very ashamed. That is the time I'm really ashamed of being a journalist. I really hang my head in shame, because that is not something, when one set out to be a journalist, that was not something one did. And that was one of the reasons I backed out. I took a sabbatical. So, this whole trend of paid journalism is not nice, and sensationalism, because of too many channels.
Right.
What I see now, again, there's a certain amount of little bit of integrity creeping in.
Right.
I hope it increases.
Okay.
I hope journalists are able to take out good issues, like they took out starting from the time of Jessica, and they keep on doing it from time to time. I hope they are not completely, stuck and curtailed. And I'm sure they will, because after, when there's too much of, sensationalism and too much of corruption in the field, there is a lot of corruption
So
in the
the
media.
integrity is creeping.
Hopefully it will
is
come
coming
out. Hopefully it will.
How do you see the role of teachers in the school of mass media and communication?
I think they are very important people, very, very important people. And the current generation of teachers in the mass media are the ones who have not been exposed to so many kind of, overload of information.
Right.
So they worked up the hard way. They've come the proper way. And I think they will be able to impart a wonderful knowledge. And the next 5 years will be a little transitional phase for Indian journalism. That's what I feel. And I hope.
And do you think it's going to be better
I think
paid
so.
jobs?
I think so.
In terms of
Oh yes,
monetary?
journalism is today is far better paid job than it was in my time.
Okay.
Though it's still not up to the up to par, but still it is nevertheless a very well paying job today.
Are you part-time writing or you?
I am.
You
I
are.
am.
You
I
are.
am.
You have famous, the Potpurri.
Potpurri
Yeah,
column,
that
yeah.
was a very famous column.
Yes.
That was for midday.
That was for midday. That was for about 8 years. I really enjoyed it.
Yes.
And since, fortunately for me, as I said, I had a very rich spouse who took care of all my needs. So there would be lots of actors, lots of actresses who would call me and say, do a piece on me, do a piece. And then I say, yes, of course I will do it, because I didn't want to antagonize them, and I never did it. And anyone told me to review a film, I reviewed whatever I thought was right.
Right.
So I had the luxury of telling them, I'll do what exactly I want.
I want
If your
to know
film
that
is
thing.
good, it will be good. If it's bad, in whatever way, if it's lacking, I don't call a bad film and a good film, because the amount of trouble the filmmakers take, it's not right to just say bad or good. But yes, what are the faults, what are the shortcomings, I will point it out. And I did not give a damn whether anybody was a friend. In fact, Omji and me, we lost a lot of friends that way, but he was a person who never bothered, so I never, once in a while he would tell me, you sure want to write about that person? Can you be a little soft at least? I said, okay, I'll do that. And then when he would tell me, no, I don't think, I said, listen, I don't tell you which heroine to act with, to co-star with, so you don't tell me.
Yeah.
And that's how we used to understand.
So I think it has been a very good chemistry, and it has been a good journey. And as I see and I listen
yes.
from you, coming on to what are your favorite films of Let's come back to Mr. Omri.
Okay. Okay. Well, I love Jane Bhi Do Yaro. That's amazing.
Yeah.
And
We all love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And when you read my biography, there are.
By the way, thank you for the books. And I'm definitely going to read the biography, Home and I,
Yes.
and which I think you wrote in 2010.
In 2010, yes. So there is his biography, Unlikely Hero, and where he talks in the first person about his experiences in various films, and he talks about the various films. Okay, my favorite is, going back to your question, is Jane Bhi Do Yaro. I loved 100 Foot Journey, and I loved East is East. And there are a whole lot of other films, but I would say these are the films, and of course Ardha Satya, but these are the 3 films I really love. And Jane Bhi Do Yaro, he talks about it in the book also. It was one of the lowest budget films he worked with, and he worked in. The total making of the film cost about 16 lakhs, which was the cost of the entire budget for mineral water and City of Joy, 16 lakhs. And in 16 lakhs, Kundan Shah made the film.
Yeah.
And he didn't have any caterers fancy. He hired a bungalow in Alibag. No rooms, nothing. All the actors took turns in sleeping. And his wife would every day make lauki curry, lauki sabzi and aloo sabzi. And he would not waste time. So while the camera was being loaded, he would start filling his plate, and then he'd say action, and he'll say, okay, cut. And he start eating. And then he'll tell everyone, chalo, jaldi, jaldi karo. And the actors didn't have time, so they say, okay, abhi 3 jan.
He was the boss.
He was the boss.
Yeah.
So, aap teenon so jao. Aapka shift aa gaya. Abhi aap teenon so jao. But the crew, the cameramen were not so lucky.
Yeah.
So one day, Vinod Pradhan was the cameraman. So he had his eye on the eyepiece, and he said, roll camera. And there was no sound. Because Vinod Pradhan was so tired, he stood and he went off to sleep. So that was
that's the intensity and involvement, and
absolutely, and it became a cult film.
Oh yes, it
and
is,
nobody could.
It is still as fresh.
Absolutely.
And what we are missing in today's times is a good laugh.
Absolutely.
And it can anytime trigger the
Yes.
laughter. Well, yeah, I think we can continue go on chatting on Saab and your journey as an author and a journalist. But it is a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you so much, and it's been wonderful being part of Chitkara University's TEDx. And I went after my talk. I went around the campus, and I saw the media studies school, and I saw the entire campus. It was so clean. The children were so chilled out over there, and it made me feel like want to join college again.
No, I think you can come and pursue your studies.
Yes, absolutely.
You do your doctorate.
Yes,
and,
but it is beautiful, and all the best to such a wonderful.
Thank you so much. Thank you for joining us
Thank you
on
so
Just
much.
Candid.
Thank you so much. Thank you.
It is an honor.
So much.